Hello students, welcome back. Today we are going to discuss some of the competitive bits from human reproduction. Question number 16. Sperms are stored and nourished inside the which part? That is option 1 Cowper's gland, 2 epididymis, 3 seminiferous tubules, 4 vas efferentia. So in this Cowper's glands are the accessory male reproductive gland. Already we mentioned its function is it provides the lubrication of penis. And epididymis and vas efferentia are the accessory male reproductive ducts. And seminiferous tubules present in the testicular lobule, and this seminiferous tubule produces sperms. That simply we can say spermatogenesis occurs in seminiferous tubules. But the question is sperms are stored and nourished. So the sperms are stored in epididymis. Epididymis is the primary storehouse of the sperms and it nourishes the sperms. So that's why the correct option is epididymis. 2. Question number 17. Seminiferous tubules is lined by how many types of cells? Seminiferous tubules lined by how many types of cells? So seminiferous tubules present in the testicular lobules, and these seminiferous tubules lined by two types of cells, Leydig cells and Sertoli cells. So here this Leydig cells it is present. Suppose if it is a seminiferous tubule, each testicular lobule consists 1, 2, 3 seminiferous tubules. So the space present between this it is called as the interstitial space. This interstitial space consists interstitial cells or maybe Leydig cells. So Leydig cells are present in the interstitial. So these are the Leydig cells. Leydig cells. So they are present in between the seminiferous tubules. And another type, that is Sertoli cells, they are lined internally, present in inside of the seminiferous tubules. They are present inside the seminiferous tubule, and they provide the nutrients to the developing sperms in the seminiferous tubules. So the correct option is 3. Two types of cells present in the seminiferous tubules. Question number 18. Which of the following gland helps in the lubrication of the penis? So here diagrams are given. In that match, that means labeling is given. So first we need to know what is this A. So here A is the A mark is the prostate gland. It is a prostate gland. Already we studied that this prostate gland consists, it is produced 20% of the semen. It produces the seminal plasm, that is 20% of semen having the secretion of this prostate, and it consists of citric acid and calcium ions present in the prostate gland secretions. And here B, it is the seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicle, and it occupies 60 to 70% of semen consists these secretions, and it consists fructose. Fructose. And here the label C, it is a rectum. It is part of digestive system. It stores the fecus, undigested food material. Rectum. And D is called as that is Cowper's gland. Cowper's D is Cowper's gland, and this Cowper's gland is also called as the bulbourethral glands. So these secretions of this Cowper's gland helps. That is, one is it is neutralizing the acidic nature. That is one. And second one, this mucus secretion of this Cowper's gland is helpful for the lubrication. Lubrication. So which gland helps in the lubrication of penis? That is Cowper's gland. Option is 1. That is part D, Cowper's gland. But in your book, the answer 3 is given. B is given. Here B is seminal vesicle. It produces fructose. So lubrication is provided by the Cowper's gland. 19. Accessory ducts that leave the testis are called. Options: 1. Vas afferentia, 2. Reta testis, 3. Epididymis, 4. Vas deferens. So look at this photograph given here and follow this flow chart. Seminiferous tubules. These seminiferous tubules are present in the testicular lobules. Testicular lobules. Consist the seminiferous tubules. The sperms are produced in this seminiferous tubules. These sperms are released into the vasa efferentia through reta testis. From this vasa efferentia, the sperms are released into highly coiled structure called as epididymis, and this epididymis is considered as primary storehouse of sperms. In this storehouse, they mature and they will get the nourishment. Nutrients are provided in the epididymis, and sperms are get matured here. And from this epididymis, the sperms are released into vas deferens. See this photograph. See the photograph clearly. This entire structure is the testis. Remember the question clearly. The question is the accessory duct that leave the testis. This entire structure is the testis. From this testis, the accessory duct which leave from the testis is the vas deferens, leaves the testis, and it joins with the ejaculatory duct or urethra. Okay, so the correct answer is option 4. but in your book the answer is given vas afferentia. So that's why the correct answer for this question is vas deferens. The accessory duct leave the testis is vas deferens. Question number 20. Egg of frog is options 1. Centrolecital, 2. Macrolecital, 3. Telolecital, 4. Microlecital. So let's know about these terms. Centrolecital, yolk is present at center. This centrolecital eggs are present in insects. Macrolecital, egg consists more amount of yolk. These macrolecital eggs or comes under reptiles, birds and prototherians, that is platypus is the example for that prototherians. Telolecital, yolk present at one end or one side of the egg is called telolecital. These telolecital eggs are laying by amphibians and reptiles. Microlecital, the egg consists less yolk. Example, Amphioxus. Now the question is egg of frog is, frog belongs to amphibians. So in amphibians we will found telolecital eggs. That means in that eggs yolk present at one end or present at one side. So the answer is option 3. Question number 21, which represents a condition of highly reduced motility. Options 1. Agiospermia, 2. Polyspermy, 3. Oligospermia, 4. Asthenospermia. So let's know the definitions of these terms. Agiospermia, the semen without sperms are called as agiospermia. Polyspermy, entry of more than one sperm into the ovum is called polyspermy. Oligospermia, semen with a low sperm count is called as oligospermia. Asthenospermia, a man produces sperm with a low motility is called as asthenospermia. As per these definitions, the correct answer is option 4. Question number 22. Umbilical cord contains options 1. Umbilicus, 2. Placenta, 3. Discus proligerus, 4. Allantoic artery and vein. Let's know the information of these terms. We know very well about this placenta. Placenta is structural and functional unit between fetus and mother. So now what does it mean umbilicus? So umbilicus, it is a channel that allows blood flow between placenta and fetus. It is an important role in the development of intestine and urinary system. So it play an important role in the development of intestine and urinary system, umbilicus. So discus proligerus, it is also called as cumulus ophorus. This word you will get in our theory part, the structure of Graafian follicle. In that area you will get this part, that is cumulus ophorus. It is a cluster of cells that surround the oocyte in the ovarian follicle. So in that Graafian follicle we draw the structure like this. It is a matured Graafian follicle, and at one corner, so that is it is the primary oocyte, and it is surrounded by the many number of cells at one corner. These are the glomerular cells present at one corner. and it is the remaining we will consider as the cavity. It is called as antrum. It is called as antrum. So what we will call here the cluster of cells that surrounds the oocyte, primary oocyte. The cells which are surround this primary oocyte are called as that of cumulus ophorus that we can observe in the ovarian follicle. Ovarian follicle is also called as the Graafian follicle. Graf is the scientist to identify these follicles. That's why ovarian follicle is also called as Graafian Graafian follicles. So in that Graafian follicle, the glomerular cells that present or surrounds this primary oocyte is called as ophorus, cumulus ophorus. And next one is allantoic artery and vein. Allantois consists of mesodermal tissue which undergo vasculogenesis, means vascular formation, vascular system, that is blood vessels, vasculogenesis, formation of blood vessels to form mature umbilical artery, mature umbilical artery and umbilical vein. The umbilical artery, generally we know artery carries oxygenated blood, but umbilical artery carries deoxygenated blood to the placenta, and umbilical vein it carries oxygenated blood to the fetus. So now, as per question, the correct option is for allantoic artery and allantoic vein. So the correct option is 4. So let's see the diagrammatic representation of this. So umbilical cord. So in this we can find the flow of blood from placenta. So now it is a right umbilical vein as well as right umbilical artery. So we are already know that artery carries the deoxygenated blood from fetus to placenta. It brings out the deoxygenated blood from fetus to placenta. Whereas umbilical vein, it carries oxygenated blood from placenta, means mother, to fetus. So it carries two words. That representation here it is mentioned how it will flows. So umbilical artery, it brings deoxygenated blood to the placenta, and vein it carries oxygenated blood, OB, oxygenated blood to the fetus. Deoxygenated blood to the placenta by umbilical artery. So these two, umbilical artery and umbilical vein, are formed through vasculogenesis of the allantois. Question number 23. Pattern of cleavage in egg of frog is options 1. Meroblastic, 2. Holoblastic unequal, 3. Holoblastic equal, all of the above. So let's know about cleavage. So cleavage it is of two types. One holoblastic and two it is meroblastic. And again this holoblastic cleavage is divided into two types. In that one it is equal and two it is unequal holoblastic. Similarly, meroblastic cleavage, again it is two types. One, it is superficial, and two, it is discoidal. So now holoblastic cleavage is nothing but the cleavage is complete and meroblastic cleavage is incomplete. So holoblastic equal cleavage, that means the cleavage is completely in equal halves. If it is cleavage is not in equal halves, then it is considered as unequal. So here the examples are also mentioned. Holoblastic equal cleavage, it is found in humans, and holoblastic unequal cleavage found in frog. So as per question, the correct answer is option 2. So pattern of cleavage in egg of frog is holoblastic unequal, complete division without equal halves. Question number 24. Establishment of polarity, anterior or posterior, dorsal or ventral, medial or lateral is called. So now let's know about the meaning of polarity. What is meant by polarity? The presence of distinct and opposite poles is considered as polarity. So the distinct and opposite poles, it leads to the formation of pattern of cleavage. So that's why the correct answer is option 3. So establishment of polarity is called pattern formation. Question number 25. Match the following. So column 1, A, length of ovary, B, insemination, C, length of oviduct, D, inverted pear shape. Column 2, 1, 10 to 12 centimeters, 2, uterus, 3, 2 to 4 centimeters, 4, penis. So we know by seeing this slide, we can identify through their colors. So length of ovary 2 to 4 centimeters. Insemination, it is done through penis. So releasing of sperm in female reproductive system is called as insemination, that is through penis. Length of oviduct, that is 10 to 12 centimeters in length. Oviduct is nothing but fallopian tube. D, inverted pear shape, that is uterus is inverted pear shape in structure. Question number 26. After implantation, finger-like projections appear on the trophoblast cells are called. Options: 1, amnion, 2, yolk sac, 3, chorionic villi, 4, lactation. So now let's come to these options. Amnion and yolk sac are called as extra embryonic membranes. So this yolk sac, initially in early stages of embryo, it provides the circulation, develops the blood cells. This point is already we learned. The yolk sac is helpful for circulation by developing the embryonic blood cells are formed by the yolk sac. Embryonic blood cells and lymph cells formed by yolk sac. And this amnion, it forms as a amniotic cavity, amniotic cavity. This amniotic cavity filled with amniotic fluid, and this fluid protect the embryo from the desiccation, loss of moisture. This is the functions. Now here the fourth option, lactation. So lactation is nothing but the production of milk in the mammary gland is called as the lactation. So now after implantation on the endometrium of uterus, the finger-like projection appears on the trophoblast is called as the chorionic villi, and it involved in formation of placenta. So the correct option in this question is 3. Chorionic villi formed after implantation on the trophoblast. It will helpful for the formation of placenta. Question number 27. Blastocyst is formed from options 1. Gastrula, 2. Inner cell mass, 3. Morula, 4. All of the above. So here the blastocyst is nothing but embryo. So blastocyst is also called as embryo. So now in this blastocyst, if you are observe the blastocyst structure, it consists outer layer of cells called as trophoblast cells, and at one it has the mass of cells called as inner cell mass. It is inner cell mass, and the outer layer of cells is called as the trophoblast. Trop, Trophoblast layer or maybe cells. And inner the spacious, that means this one is called as the blastocele or maybe cavity. Blastocele or maybe it is a cavity. So now from the inner cell mass, the second option, inner cell mass, that is a part of blastocyst. But the question is blastocyst is formed from so means which stage is present before this. So the blastocyst, it is formed from morula. It is the early stage. The morula is developed as a blastocyst, and this blastocyst develop as a gastrula. This is the order. First morula. From this morula, blastocyst is develops, and from this blastocyst, gastrula is developed. So during this gastrulation only, differentiation is takes place. Differentiation is takes place during gastrula. The differentiation is formation of three layers, embryonic layers, and formation of archenteron in the early stage, that is digestive gut, and all during gastrula. So blastocyst is formed from morula. So the correct option is morula 3. Question number 8. Read the following statements carefully and select the appropriate option given below. Statement A. Each seminiferous tubule contains 1 to 3 highly coiled testicular lobules. B. Seminal plasma is rich in fructose, calcium, and certain enzymes. C. The edges of the infundibulum possess finger-like projections called fimbriae. D. The cavity of the vagina is called cervical canal, which along with the womb forms the birth canal. E. Mons pubis is a cushion of epithelial tissue covered by skin and pubic hair. Options 1. All are incorrect except A and D statements. 2. All are incorrect except B and E statements. 3. All are incorrect except B and C statements. 4. All are incorrect except B and D statements. So let's see the statements once again. Statement A. Each seminiferous tubule contains 1 to 3 highly coiled testicular lobules. So this statement is wrong because seminiferous tubules are present in testicular lobules, not testicular lobules in seminiferous tubules. Each testicular lobule consists 1 to 3 seminiferous tubule. That is the correct statement. So here seminiferous tubules present in testicular lobules is the wrong statement. Next, statement B. Seminal plasma is rich in fructose, calcium and certain enzymes. So it is correct statement. Seminal plasma is secreted by the accessory glands, that is prostate gland, seminal vesicles, Cowper's glands secretes that seminal plasma. It is rich with fructose, calcium and certain enzymes. It is correct statement. And statement C. The edges of the infundibulum possess finger-like projections called fimbriae, which helpful for collecting the ovum. It is also correct statement. So statement D. The cavity of the vagina is called cervical canal, which along with the womb forms the birth canal. So birth canal is formed by the cervical canal along with the vagina is called birth canal. Cervical canal along with vagina is called birth canal. Cervical canal is not called as a vagina. So birth canal is formed by cervical canal and vagina. So that's why this statement D is wrong. And statement E. Mons pubis is cushion of epithelial tissue covered by skin and pubic hair. Covered by skin and pubic hair, that part is correct. But mons pubis is a cushion of fatty tissue, not epithelial tissue. Fatty tissue is a connective tissue. So mons pubis is a cushion of epithelial tissue. It is the wrong statement. So hence the answer is option 3. All are incorrect except B and C statements. B and C statements are correct. A, D, E statements are wrong. Question number 29. Given below is a flow chart showing ovarian changes during menstrual cycle. Find out the hormones A, B and C responsible for events shown. So primary follicle, and it develops as a Graafian follicle. So during ovulation, Graafian follicle is ruptures and it releases the ovum, and a ruptured Graafian follicle is converts into the corpus luteum. So it is the a flow chart showing ovarian changes. So primary follicle changes to the Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle releases the ovum, and ruptured Graafian follicle converts into corpus luteum. So now in these events, which hormones are responsible for these events? So now primary follicles converts into secondary follicles. Secondary follicles changes into tertiary follicles, and the mature tertiary follicle is called as a Graafian follicle. These events are regulated by follicle stimulating hormone. So A is FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. and matured Graafian follicle ruptures and releases the ovum. That process is called as the ovulation. So ovulation, release of ovum from Graafian follicle, is called ovulation. So ovulation is regulated by, or at the time of ovulation, luteinizing hormone LH is in high levels, that we will call as the LH surge, is the responsible for release of ovum from Graafian follicle. So LH is responsible for the ovulation. Then the ruptured Graafian follicle, after releasing ovum, the ruptured Graafian follicle is converts into the corpus luteum, that is also regulated by LH. So based on this information, A is a follicle stimulating hormone, B is LH, and C is LH. So then the correct answer is option 4. Question number 30. Which type of blastula occurs in frog? Options: 1. Stereoblastula, 2. Coeloblastula, 3. Holoblastula, 4. Amphiblastula. So now what about this Stereoblastula? Embryo produced by spiral cleavage, and it is characterized by absence of blastocyst. So in Stereoblastula, absence of the absence of blastocyst is a characteristic feature of Stereoblastula, and this is present in Annelida. And Coeloblastula, so Coeloblastula contain a large spacious blastocyst. So the blastula with this condition, the spacious blastocyst is nothing but a cavity. So a large spacious cavity present in this Coeloblastula, that is characteristic of this Coeloblastula, and it is present in frog and starfish. So now as per question, which type of blastula occurs in frog? Coeloblastula is occurs in frog. So correct answer is option 2. So the characteristic of the Coeloblastula is having spacious cavity, nothing but blastocyst, having spacious cavity, or nothing but blastocyst. Now amphiblastula. So this amphiblastula information already we have in previous parts. Amphiblastula is the free swimming larva of sponges, some sponges. So amphiblastula is free swimming larva of sponges, is amphiblastula. Now holoblastic cleavage, that means equally the less a small space, small cavity is present and it is equally divides, holoblastic. So for this question, correct option is 2. Coeloblastula is present in frog. Question number 31. Which of the following is immortal? Options: 1. Somatic cell, 2. Germ cell, 3. Glomerular cell, 4. Cells of pituitary gland. So first we need to know what is the meaning of this immortal. Immortal is nothing but living forever. Living forever is the meaning of immortal. And in first chapter, reproduction in organisms, this immortal, based on this one mark question is there. That is why? That means why single cellular organisms are immortal, or why unicellular organisms are immortal? Because unicellular organisms are undergo binary fission. That means, for example, if you are take one cell, suppose if it is a amoeba, for example, there is no a structure for the amoeba. You can draw any structure. So amoeba, it undergo the binary fission. That means it becomes two. So it is a one and it is two. So every living organism form from the pre-existing. So here this is the existing amoeba. It finally converts into two daughter cells or daughter amoebulae. So now here this one is not died. It become two daughter amoebae. So that means unicellular organism is immortal, living forever. It never dies. It form into a new one. So now that principle we need to apply in these options. So now come to the somatic cells. The somatic cells are also called as the vegetative cells, and these germ cells are called as the germ cells are also called sex cells or reproductive cells. Sex cells or maybe reproductive cells. Reproductive cells. So in this chapter we are already studied about spermatogenesis or maybe oogenesis. So let's consider this spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis. So in this spermatogenesis, spermatogonia, spermatogonia, it is formed as a primary spermatocytes, and these primary spermatocytes undergo meiosis 1 and to form secondary spermatocytes, and it undergo meiosis 2 division, meiosis 2, and it form as a spermatids, and this spermatids finally converts into a sperms. So formation of sperms we will call as a spermatogenesis. See, spermatogonia is a germ cell, reproductive cell. This reproductive cell finally converts into the sperms. That means it is living forever. It is not dying. It undergo division, cell division, and it form the new cells. So germ cells in this question, the germ cells are immortal, living forever. The reason already we are written. This germ cell undergoes cell division to form the new cells. But whereas somatic cell, vegetative cells, and glomerular cells, these are also vegetative cells. Cells in the pituitary gland is also vegetative cells. These cells, for example, the cells present in the skin, daily number, millions of cells are died in the dead cells. That is reason why we are daily taking bath, because we are removing the dead cells on the skin. So skin is a vegetative organ. So in vegetative cells, cells are died and they are replaced by the existing cells through mitotic divisions. So that's why here the correct answer, the immortal in the given options is germ cell. So that's why option 2 is the correct answer. Question number 32. Recognize the figure and find out correct matching. So diagram based. it is a menstrual cycle diagram. So in this A, B, C, D, we need to find out. So here this is A, that means what this line, and here I am changing the colors once observed, and B, that means this line is the B, and next it is the C, the topmost line, this line is the C, and again D, this is the line D. So now we need to find out what are these A, B, C, D, which hormones which are regulating this menstrual cycle. So we are very well known that A is the LH, luteinizing hormone. A is LH. So its level is very high at ovulation, release of ovum. At that stage, luteinizing hormone is released in very high levels. And B is FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. So it is helpful for follicular development, primary, secondary, tertiary follicle development. And next come to the C, it is estrogen. So C is estrogen, and D is progesterone hormone. So now, as per this information, the correct option in this question is option 1. A is LH, B is FSH, C is estrogen, and D is progesterone. Question number 33. Meroblastic cleavage is division. So it is meroblastic. So cleavage is of two types, that is holoblastic. So cleavage, already we know this information. The cleavage is of two types. So that is one we will called as holoblastic cleavage. So in this holoblastic cleavage, the cleavage is occurred completely. So the second type we will called as the meroblastic. It is incomplete. Meroblastic cleavage is incomplete. So this incomplete cleavage, it is also called as partial or maybe parietal cleavage. So the correct answer for this meroblastic cleavage is a division of partial or maybe parietal cleavage or incomplete cleavage. Question number 34. The animal in which testes descend into scrotum only during breeding season is options 1. Frog, 2. Kangaroo, 3. Screw, 4. Bat. So let's we know that very well known that in humans, in human in human the testis is extra abdominal. That means the testis is present in human. The testis is present in scrotum. It is present outside the abdominal cavity in scrotum. Hence, in human, the testis is extra extra abdominal. Extra abdominal. So, whereas in the previous part we discussed whale, dolphins, and elephant. In elephant as well as in the whales. In the whale, the testis is present in abdominal cavity. Present in abdominal cavity. So in these animals, elephant, whale, and dolphin, in these animals, scrotum is vestigial. Vestigial. So scrotum is vestigial. So now here the question is, in some animals the scrotum is only descent during breeding season. That means scrotum is extra abdominal as well as intra abdominal. So it is extra abdominal only during breeding season. So in some animals the scrotum is acts as a extra abdominal as well as intra abdominal, extra and intra abdominal. So that means the testis only comes out during breeding season, and remaining seasons it will present inside the abdominal cavity. So this condition we can observe in rat as well as in bats. In bats as well as in rats, this condition we can observe. So as for this information, the correct option is for bats. In bats, the testes descend into scrotum only during breeding season, but the scrotum is vestigial in the elephant as well as whales and dolphins. In these animals, the testis is, that means scrotum is vestigial. Question number 35. Nibenkan is a part of. Nibenkan is a part of. Options: 1. Human ovum. 2. Human sperm. 3. Fetus. 4. Graphian follicle. So now, what is this Nibenkan? So Nibenkan is a spirally arranged mitochondria in the middle piece of sperm, is called Nibenkan. So that means Nibenkan is nothing but, it is nothing but a spirally arranged mitochondria. Spirally arranged arranged mitochondria. Mitochondria in sperm. So then the correct answer is human sperm consists this Nibenkan. Nibenkan means spirally arranged mitochondria, is called as Nibenkan. Question number 36. Placenta is connected to the embryo through options: 1. Chorionic villi. 2. Umbilical cord. 3. Yolk sac. 4. Chorion. So now let's come to these options. So chorionic villi. So this chorionic villi involved in the formation of placenta. So the chorionic villi involved in the formation of placenta. And here yolk sac and chorion, these two are considered as extra embryonic membranes. Now placenta is connected to the embryo or fetus through a hard cord called as umbilical cord. So umbilical cord helpful to connect the placenta to the fetus. So placenta connects fetus or embryo through umbilical cord, and this umbilical cord consists 100% of fetal blood. Fetal blood, whereas the placenta. So formation of placenta involves the chorionic villi. It is chorionic villi is the part of fetus. Chorionic villi plus maternal tissue. Maternal tissue forms this placenta. So involvement of both the tissues, fetus as well as maternal. That's why the blood 50% belongs to fetus and another 50% of blood belongs to maternal. But whereas in umbilical cord 100% of blood is fetal. So placenta is connected to the embryo through umbilical cord. So the correct option is 2. Question number 37. The mother germ cells are transformed into a mature follicle through a series of steps. Find out the missing steps A, B, and C. So, oogonia, it converts, that is a missing one, A, and A it is converted into primary follicles, and primary follicles are converted into missing word, that is B, and B is converted into missing, it is C, and finally the C converts into the Graafian follicle. So now oogonia, it is a oogonesis process in the female reproductive system. So it is a oogenesis. Oogenesis. So we are already well known that this oogenesis, it is occurred in the ovary. It occurs in the ovary. So during oogenesis, this oogonia undergo mitosis and increase their number. And by increasing that size, and it converts into the primary oocyte. Primary oocyte. This primary oocyte, suppose it is a primary dot, it is a primary oocyte, and the primary oocyte is surrounded by a cells, it form as the primary follicle. Primary follicle. So oogonia first form as a primary oocyte. So that means A is the primary oocyte. Next, this primary oocyte, by arranging the granulosa cells around the primary oocyte, and it develops as a primary follicle. Primary follicles. So primary follicles, again more number of granulosa cells arranged around these primary follicles, and it converts into secondary follicles. Secondary follicles. So primary follicles converts into secondary follicles, that is B. Now these secondary follicles, by joining more granulosa cells, and it converts into the tertiary follicles, and one end it has this cells all under surrounding, this is the primary oocyte surrounded by granulosa cells, and this tertiary follicle is a characteristic with a large cavity called as antrum. Called as antrum. So The secondary follicle develops into tertiary follicle. That is, C is the tertiary follicle. And this tertiary follicle, matured tertiary follicle, is called as the Graafian follicle. So then oogonia form as a primary oocyte, and primary oocyte surrounded by granulosa cells form as a primary follicle, and by addition of more granulosa cells it converts into secondary follicle, and it converts into tertiary follicle, and finally the matured tertiary follicle we will call as the Graafian follicle. So the correct answer is option 1. A is primary follicle, primary oocyte, and B is secondary follicle, and C is tertiary follicle. So correct option is 1. Question number 38. Which organelle is absent in human sperm? Options: 1. Nucleus, 2. Mitochondria, 3. Centriole, 4. Endoplasmic reticulum. We are already well known that the human sperm consists haploid 1n haploid nucleus in the head region. It is present in the head region, and mitochondria, just now previous bits we discussed Nebenken. So mitochondria, it is arranged spirally, that we will call as the Nebenken. Nebenken, spirally arranged mitochondria. In middle piece it is present. Middle piece consists this mitochondria. Centriole, there are two types of centrioles present in the human sperm, that is proximal and distal centrioles. Distal centrioles are present in the human sperm. So then which one we are not studied in the description, that is endoplasmic reticulum is absent in the human sperm. So that's why the correct option is 4. Endoplasmic reticulum is absent in human sperm. Question number 39. Identify the incorrect statement from the following. We need to find out the wrong one. 1. High levels of LH, luteinizing hormone, triggers ovulatory surge. 2. Oogonial cells start to proliferate and gives rise to functional ova in regular cycles from puberty onwards. 3. Sperms released from seminiferous tubules are slightly motile. 4. FSH level is high during post-ovulatory phase of menstrual cycle. Let's see again these statements. High level of LH triggers the ovulatory surge or ovulatory stage. That means LH, already we discussed this one. LH is responsible for the ovulation, releasing of ovum. So that's why this statement is correct. Oogonial cells starts to proliferate, that means start to undergo division and gives rise to the functional ova or functional ovum. Ova is plural. Ovum in regular cycles, that is menstrual cycle, it starts from sexual maturity, that is puberty onwards. So it is also a correct statement. Sperms released from seminiferous tubules or slightly motile. It is also a correct. Now, fourth one. FSH level is high during post-ovulatory phase of the menstrual cycle. Post-ovulatory means after ovulation, or post-ovulatory means after releasing of ovum. After releasing releasing ovum, we will consider as post-ovulatory. So after releasing of ovum, which hormone is more? Progesterone is more, not progesterone. Progesterone is more during post-ovulatory phase, or progesterone is more after releasing of ovum. But here it is given FSH is more, or level is high. FSH level is high during pre-ovulatory, before ovulation, pre-ovulatory phase of menstrual cycle. FSH is more because it is required for follicular development. So that's why the correct answer is option 4. It is the incorrect statement in these four statements. Question number 40. A morula can differentiated from blastula in. So the difference between blastula and morula. So from morula, blastula is develops. So now options: presence of cavity, presence of more yolk, presence of yolk, absence of cavity. So in these options, yolk, presence of yolk. So actually yolk is related to egg or ovum. But morula and blastula, these stages after fertilization, that means related to the zygote. So zygote is formed after fusion of this egg with the sperm, the zygote results. So that's why in these options we won't consider this yolk because it is not comes under the morula or maybe blastula. Morula and blastula stages do not consider this yolk. Leave it. So now what? So blastula, the blastulation, the morula, it is arranged form as the outer layer of cells called as the trophoblast. So the mass of cells are present like this. This we will called as morula with the mass of cells, morula, and this morula surrounded by the zona pellucida. That's why the morula size is same as ovum size because of retaining of that zona pellucida. Now in this blastula, the outer cells form as the outer cells form as a trophoblast, form as a trophoblast. It form like the trophoblast cells, and what one end we will observe a mass of cells at one end. They are called as inner cell mass, and this region we will consider as the blastocele, that is cavity or blastocele. So presence of cavity in blastula differentiates from the morula. So the correct answer is presence of cavity in blastula. Question number 41. Which of the cellular layers disintegrates and regenerates again and again in human. Options: 1. Endometrium, 2. Dermis of skin, 3. Cornea of eye, 4. Endothelium of blood. So among these, already we studied that menstrual cycle. So in menstrual cycle, every 28 days it takes place, or in a month. So alternate to the ovary. So in this menstrual cycle, during proliferatory phase, during proliferatory phase, the number of cells in the endometrium of uterus, endometrium of uterus undergo cell divisions and increase their number. If fertilization does not take place, these endometrial cells are disintegrates and ruptures along with the degenerated ovum. They are sent out as a menstrual flow. So disintegrates, and again in the new cycle, the cells in the endometrium again regenerates again and again as long as this menstrual cycle is takes place. So that's why the correct option for this question is 1, endometrium of human. In this, the cellular layers disintegrates, regenerates again and again as long as this menstrual cycle is continuous. In dermis of skin, when the skin cells are damaged, then new cells are replaced by mitosis. The cornea, also any small damage, and the endothelium of blood cells. These are all vegetative cells. In endometrium also vegetative cells. But during menstrual cycle, the endometrium cellular layers are ruptured and again regenerates in the next cycle. So the correct one is endometrium. Option 1. Question number 42. Structure absent in frog's testis is. Options: seminiferous tubules, seminal vesicles, interstitial cells. So these seminiferous tubules are the present in present in testis. Seminal vesicles or the accessory ducts. Seminal vesicles are accessory glands, not a ducts. Accessory gland. Accessory gland. Interstitial cells are also called as the Leydig cells. Leydig cells. So these Leydig cells are present in. That means seminiferous tubules are lined with two types of cells. Internally, it is lined with Sertoli cells, and outside, that means surrounding that seminiferous tubules outside, it is Leydig cells are present. So this Leydig cells produces the androgens hormone. It produces androgen, and Sertoli cells are helpful for the providing nutrients. This we are studied in the human sperm structure. That means human testicular structure we studied. So Sertoli cells and Leydig cells both are present in the human. Whereas in these cells, the Sertoli cells are absent in frog testes. So that's why the correct option is 3 is the correct. Sertoli cells are absent in frog testes, whereas it is present in human. Question number 43. Neuroblastic cleavage is options 1 total, 2 spiral, 3 incomplete, 4 horizontal. So let's know that already we discussed that cleavage is of two types. We discussed that cleavage is of two types. One, holoblastic cleavage, and this holoblastic cleavage is complete cleavage, and another type of cleavage is meroblastic cleavage. Meroblastic cleavage. So this meroblastic cleavage is incomplete or maybe partial cleavage. So that's why the correct option is 3. Meroblastic cleavage is incomplete cleavage. Question number 44. Tunica albuginea is related to option 1 liver, 2 lung, 3 spleen, 4 testes. So liver, lung, spleen are the vegetative organs. So liver, lung, spleen, all these three are the vegetative organs. Vegetative organs. And this testis is reproductive organ, and this tunica albuginea present in the testis, in the reproductive organ. So the correct option is 4. Question number 45. Given below are the events in human reproduction. A. Gestation, B. Paturation, C. Insemination, D. Gametogenesis, E. Fertilization, F. Implantation. What will be the correct sequence of these reproductive events? So now let's start with. So reproductive organs produces the gametes. So gamete formation is called as the gametogenesis. Gametogenesis. So these gametes are inseminate into the, that means released, need to release into the female reproductive system. Releasing of gametes into female reproductive system is called as insemination. So after releasing gametes and it undergo fertilization, fusion of gametes. Fertilization. So fertilization results zygote, and zygote undergo cleavage to form the embryo, and this embryo is implants on the uterus. So implantation of the embryo on the endometrium of uterus. Implantation. And after implantation it undergo differentiation, embryonic layers are formed, and it uh, major organ systems, and finally develop the individual. The time period of this development is called as the gestation period. Gestation period. So after completion of this gestation, then the new developed fetus is delivered. The process of giving birth is called as the parturition. So this is the sequence. So now gametogenesis here, that word, it is a D in this list, it is D. And after that insemination, that is C in the here, and next fertilization, that is word E, it is, and next implantation, that is F, and gestation A, and finally parturition, that is B. That is the order of sequence: B, C, E, F, A, D. So that is a correct option as per this order is D, C, E, F, A, B. The correct answer is option 1. Thank you, students. The 2 levels in the human reproduction is completed. The next video onwards, we will start reproductive health.